Thank y'all. I'm about talked out. I was hosted the Dale Jackson show this morning, and Patty was kind enough to call in, and we talked about the PACT program in Huntsville this morning over the Dale Jackson show. We went to Scottsboro last night and had a PACT meeting. I'd like to say that I not only am running for governor, and I'm not necessarily coming as a gubernatorial candidate, but of course I am, because that's what I am. But I also serve in the legislature, and I serve House District 63 in Tuscaloosa, which that's where the University of Alabama is situated. I believe, and I'll be very to the point, I believe that this is not only a moral obligation, but we have a legal obligation in the state of Alabama to honor every PACT. And I think that they should be fully honored, not partially honored. And that has been my stand all along, and I will continue to believe that. The PACT board's decision on the 29th, is that when it was, Pat? On the 29th, I think preempted an opportunity that you have to put pressure on your legislators, because this is an election year, just like Patty said. And when you have an election year, you seem to be a little bit more responsive. And I think that even though they may have preempted that, and even though there may be reason for some legislators to try to shirk their responsibility and not solve this problem, I still think that this is the opportunity that you have to talk to your legislators in a respectful way and tell them how you really feel about the PACT. And I believe that that the vast majority of the people in the legislature want to solve this problem. I really do, but this is the year to do it. I think the best scenario might be if we can get the legislature to take ownership of the PACTs and to say that we're going to honor every PACT fully. Now that would be, I think, the best case scenario, because that, even if we don't solve the problem this year because of money constraints, it at least would relieve the pressure that you have, the anxiety that you have, to let you know that those PACTs are going to be honored. So I think that's what we need to work on first. And if we can get that through the legislature, then we can have the time to come up with a monetary solution to make sure that all PACTs are honored. I personally don't think that, there are many battles that we may have to fight. You say, well, why does higher ed not take less for the contracts? Why will they not lower the tuition or take a certain amount? I'm not too sure that battle is worth fighting right now. As long as the legislature can take ownership of the PACTs to let you know that we're going to actually honor all of them. And that's what I think we need to do first. Very quickly, I want to tell you there is a plan that I have that I've looked at and I've worked on. I worked on it last year some. I've continued to work on it. I actually have a bill drafted that I could submit that I think would take care of the situation without battling higher ed right now. Now, eventually we may have to battle higher ed. We eventually may have to jawbone them a little bit and say, y'all going to have to take less. But you're still going to honor all the PACT contracts. And the bill that I have, and very quickly, it's a little complicated, but it's to give the PACT board about 18 months, allow interest rates to go back up some, which they're going to do. Let them put it into a fixed annuity-like program that will pay out the same amount for 20 years. Now, I've talked with Northwestern Mutual, Guardian, New York Life, Mass Mutual. These companies would, at the present time, do that for the PACT board and would pay out between $35 and $40 million a year for 20 years. We need about $22 million more right now to honor the PACTs as far as the tuition level is right now. We would have to find some pot of money where we could get the difference. There's not one pot of money, and that's the Alabama Trust Fund. Now, that would hurt a little bit. If we took some out of the corpus of the Alabama Trust Fund money, that would hurt a little bit, because 70% of the interest off Alabama Trust Fund goes to the general fund, which Representative Page serves on. And so that would hurt just a little bit. But what we would have to couch this as, and also see, people would have to vote on this. But if we've already taken ownership of it, and if they voted down, we find some other avenue. But with an attrition of students, if no more students come into it, about the 10th year, you'd have an overage of money, and then you start paying back the Alabama Trust Fund. Now, would it work out perfectly? No, nothing ever works out perfectly in government. But it is a way to do it and to say that it is a loan, not a bailout. Because if the people of Alabama have to vote on it, there are more people who don't have tax than people who have tax. So you have to couch it as a loan and not say that the people of Alabama are bailing out the PACs. You say they're loaning money that's going to be paid back. Now, I have not submitted that plan. Patty knows about it, and a number of people know about it, and I'm holding that. But there really has not been any other plan that I have seen lately that would really take care of everybody. And we can fight higher ed at a later date, 2 or 3 years down the road if we have to. You know, if things keep going up at double-digit inflation.